The Galactic Council had made their position clear: humanity was too dangerous to join the interstellar community. Commander Vexlar of the Krandian Empire delivered the message himself, his 4 eyes gleaming with barely concealed contempt as he addressed Cadet Rebecca Martinez in the council chambers. "Your species application is denied," he announced. "Humans are primitive, violent, unworthy." Rebecca stood at attention in her crisp United Earth Forces uniform, jaw clenched but silent. At 23, she was the youngest cadet ever selected for the Galactic Integration Program, chosen specifically because humanity needed to prove itself. Now, staring at the assembled alien dignitaries, she felt the weight of 7 billion hopes crushing down on her shoulders. However, Vexlar continued, mandibles clicking with amusement, "We are not without mercy. We offer you a chance to prove your worth." He gestured to a holographic display that materialized between them. "The trial of fangs. 10 of the galaxy's finest hunters will pursue you across the death world of Krath Prime. Survive for 7 cycles, and humanity may petition the Council again. And if I refuse? Then Earth remains quarantined. Forever." Rebecca's hands balled into fists. She thought of her father, a Marine who taught her to never back down. Her mother, a surgeon who'd shown her that humans were capable of both incredible violence and profound compassion. Her little brother Tommy, who dreamed of seeing the stars. "I accept." The council chamber erupted in surprised chittering and electronic pulses. No species had ever agreed to the trial willingly. Most considered it a death sentence. "Excellent," Vexlar said, clearly expecting her to decline. "You have 1 solar hour to prepare." Krath Prime was a nightmare carved from stone and shadow. Twin suns beat down on endless canyons of razor-sharp obsidian. The atmosphere was breathable but thin, forcing Rebecca to ration every movement. She'd been dropped with nothing but a survival knife and the clothes on her back. The hunters, she knew, would have advanced weaponry, armor, and centuries of killing experience. She smiled grimly. They didn't know humans. The first hunter came on the 2nd cycle. A Threxian stalker, 8 feet of chitinous armor and electromagnetic claws designed to disable nervous systems. It tracked her scent through the canyon, confident in its superiority. Rebecca had spent the previous cycle studying the terrain, remembering every lesson from survival school. She'd found a cave system and discovered that Krath Prime's obsidian conducted heat beautifully. When the Threxian entered her carefully chosen ambush point, she triggered a rock slide she'd spent hours preparing. The alien was fast, but physics didn't care about speed. 3 tons of superheated stone crushed its torso. Rebecca retrieved its skull with her knife, the blade scraping against alien bone as she worked. It took an hour, but she'd made a promise to herself: if they wanted to hunt her like an animal, she'd show them what the apex predator of Earth could do. The 2nd and 3rd hunters came together on Cycle 4. Varelian pack tacticians, telepathically linked. They'd hunted successfully across 100 worlds, coordinating perfectly. Rebecca had been raised in Detroit, where her father had taught her that the best way to beat a coordinated team was to make them panic. She'd spent 2 cycles rigging the obsidian canyon with traps using pieces of the Threxian's tech, creating a maze of false trails and dead ends. When the Varelians entered her killing ground, she struck the first one from above, her knife finding the weak point behind its cranial ridge. The telepathic feedback of its death screamed through their link, and the 2nd hunter froze for just a moment, long enough for Rebecca to trigger a collapse that buried it alive. 2 more skulls. By Cycle 6, the remaining hunters grew cautious. They'd been monitoring the kills, and fear was setting in. The human wasn't running. She was hunting them back. The council watched from their distant chambers, stunned into silence. Never in the trial's 1,000-year history had a candidate killed even 1 hunter. This human had claimed 5 skulls and was still moving with purpose, with strategy. The final 5 hunters decided to work together, abandoning the traditional rules of the hunt. A Krell berserker, 2 Zalthian assassins, a Morgoth acid spitter, and Vexlar himself, who couldn't resist the opportunity to personally eliminate the human embarrassment. They found Rebecca on the 7th cycle, surrounded and outgunned in a box canyon. Vexlar's translator crackled with satisfaction. Impressive, for a primitive. But this ends now. Rebecca stood in the center of the canyon, covered in dust and alien blood, her survival knife in one hand. She looked at the 5 hunters surrounding her and started laughing. "You know what humans say about cornered prey?" she asked. "We don't corner well." She'd spent the last cycle preparing this exact spot. The obsidian walls around them weren't natural anymore, she'd weakened them strategically, using her knowledge of geology and structural engineering from her academy training. When she slammed her fist against the canyon wall in a specific pattern, the resonance triggered a catastrophic collapse. The Krell and Morgoth died instantly. One Zalthian managed to shield itself but was crushed when Rebecca, who'd positioned herself near the only stable outcropping, dropped on it from above. The second Zalthian wounded her badly, its blade cutting deep into her shoulder, but Rebecca fought through the pain, using her smaller size to get inside its guard and drive her knife up through its jaw. Vexlar alone escaped the initial collapse, his advanced armor protecting him. But his arrogance had finally caught up with him. He'd entered a human's territory, and Rebecca had learned every inch of it. The fight was brutal and short. Vexlar was stronger and better armed, but Rebecca was fighting for her entire species. When his plasma rifle ran dry, she was ready, tackling him to the ground. They struggled in the dust, and in the end, human endurance won. Her knife found a gap in his neck armor. She took all 5 skulls. When the extraction ship arrived at the end of the 7th cycle, they found Rebecca Martinez sitting on a pile of alien bones, her shoulder roughly bandaged, dehydrated and exhausted but very much alive. 10 skulls arranged before her like trophies. She looked up at the camera drone and spoke clearly, "Humanity accepts your invitation to join the Galactic Council. These are our credentials." The Council had no choice. By their own laws, she'd passed the trial. But more than that, they'd learned something terrifying and profound: humans weren't just survivors. They were the ones who made other species pray they survived. Commander Vexlar's people demanded war. The Council refused. Because starting a war with humanity, they now understood, wasn't a battle. It was suicide. Rebecca Martinez returned to Earth a hero, carrying 10 alien skulls and a simple message: humanity had earned its place among the stars, and God help anyone who tried to take it away.